Hi guys, I'm Shmi and welcome to the Porsche stand at the Geneva Motorshow, where we're going to take a look at the new 911 991.2 GT3. But before we get there and have a full look around the car, I want to let you guys know that I have put in my application form to order one of these. So hopefully in the future there will be a 911 GT3 Shmi-mobile. So I've announced recently that I'm buying a new car for this summer, but you guys didn't yet know that when I sold my Cayman GT4, I had already put in the form to order one of these in the past. So I know it's the top vote to buy a 911, a GTS, but knowing the GT3 is coming, that's not going to be it for now. But we're going to take a full look now around the new car, the 911 991.2 GT3. The big thing is that this car is going to have a manual gearbox option. So they're going to have it by default with a 7-speed PDK, but you can have it with that 6-speed manual that's been created and engineered and developed for the 911R. It's got the 4-litre flat 6 instead of the 3.8 from the previous generation, and that means in here 500 horsepower, so effectively the equivalent of the previous 991.1 GT3 RS had 500 horsepower and the previous GT3 had 475. But it's in part derived from the RSR mid-engine race car 2 and the other race cars in the 911 family. So looking around it visually, it's very similar, very distinctly Porsche 911 GT3. You've got the wing that sits ever so slightly higher and slightly further back, so it's a centimetre higher, 2 centimetres further back, and extends slightly wider. It has these new intakes just above to obviously cool the rear-mounted engine. That's pretty similar in terms of design and style to the car that came before. Down at the back, you've got these sort of vanes, if we come right underneath, from the 911R. So you can see the sort of aero vanes to direct airflow around the car. That whole setup is much like before, with the central mounted twin exhaust pipes as well. It's all slightly changed, but very much the car that we know and love. And it's going to rev, by the way, that engine is going to rev up to 9,000 RPM, which is going to sound incredible. Around front, slight touches again. It looks to me a little bit more like the GT4 in the way that piece is shaped, but it's all obviously for airflow, for cooling through the car and for aerodynamics. This car is 20% more efficient, more aerodynamic, more downforce than the previous GT3, which makes it equivalent to the previous 997.2 GT3 RS. So it's no doubt going to be quite a phenomenal car to drive out on the track, probably be quite a good car to drive on the road too. It also has technologies like rear wheel steering still, so the rear wheels turn with the turn if you're turning around to the right, for example, so you have the front wheels facing that direction. The rear wheels will come out and face a couple of degrees in that direction to give you enhanced cornering ability and make you feel like you're on rails, and if you're at speed they will turn in the same direction to give you additional stability too. If we come and have a look on the inside, this car is the PDK car. There will be the option for the clutch pedal and that 6-speed box, but we've got the bucket seat in here, the 918 Spider derived bucket seat, of course, with this new imprint for the GT3 logo up the centre, the 918 style steering wheel, and everything else, including the rev counter that goes up to 9,000 RPM. So it has Apple CarPlay, all sorts of other features and bits of functionality, a bit of storage space to squeeze some bags around the buckets, or you can have it with the standard seats or the 18-way adaptive seats if you so prefer. If I click here, we can come around and lift this up and just have a quick glimpse, although there's not too much to see because you can't get too far through it other than the carbon sort of tray and the cooling in there. So there's an engine somewhere deep down in there. Shut that back up for the moment. Click it down into place. Just have a little bit more of a look around here. Alcantara, carbon. I quite like the red with the red stitching mixed against the black of the carbon, the Alcantara, and the leather mix inside. And there's also the boot at the front, obviously, which makes this even better for your storage needs. So what else can we show? Well, carbon ceramic brakes, of course, the Porsche PCCBs, centre lock wheel nuts, very much race-inspired feel. But it really is just a sort of evolution of the car that we know that's already performed so well and been such a brilliant machine. So GT3, hopefully incoming in the not too distant future. The way this process works is you complete an application form, you let Porsche know of your ownership history, the cars you've driven and used, and then fingers crossed, hope down the road that you might find an allocation. So please Porsche, I may not have had a 991.1 GT3 RS, I really want one. I would love to have this to continue my Porsche story. in the future. So there we go, a first look around the new GT3, a very relevant car for me, let's hope. While we're on the Porsche stand, let's have a look at another new introduction, the Panamera Sport Turismo, a car that was pretty much being cried out for, the estate station wagon version of the Panamera. So we're going to take a quick look at this one. This is a 4S diesel, quite similar to the 4S diesel regular Panamera I've just had for a drive from Race Chip. In front of me also is a turbo, so I'll spin the camera around and show you that in a second. But I'm picking out this car naturally because it's blue and it's looking very nice. So in terms of length and engines, the Sport Turismo actually completely the same size. Obviously there is more luggage space though as a result of the new rear. So I'm going to squeeze round to the back so I can show you this and how it looks from behind. You can see up top there's this new wing sort of spoiler sitting right on top of the rear window that's currently in the raised position, and obviously to counteract the change in aerodynamics as a result of raising up the back, there are some slight modifications to the front as well. But around here it's very much the Panamera with this sort of stripe across the back that we know from the regular car, the regular sort of saloon car. If I open up the boot, you can see the additional luggage capacity. There's a folding canvas roofed cover, I should say, but you've got a lot of storage space back here, and it's a pretty cool platform. So this car, the 4S diesel, has the 4-litre twin turbocharged V8 diesel engine, 422 horsepower, 850 Newton meters. It's quite nicely styled with the quad exhaust, the silver exhaust tips down at the base, looking quite nice with the optional wheels as well. If I come around and quickly show you on the inside, it's exactly the same in the Sport Turismo as the regular car. So you've got the new Porsche sort of haptic feedback controls through this system, the very large display here that allows you to control everything, and it's just comfortable, luxurious, nicely finished, really good seats, lots of space, storage buckets, and just an overall very nice car to use for a long kind of drive, GT kind of environment. I'll show you in the back too, space back here. All just fits and works very, very nicely. Over that side is the turbo. You can see that's drawing quite a lot of attention. It's a little bit harder to get at. Come back round and let's look at the front of this car. So the Panamera Sport Turismo, we've been waiting basically to come out for quite a while now, wondering when it was going to launch and arrive and drop on us. It's taken until now, the 2017 Geneva Motorshow, I guess, for the timing to be right. But it's here. This is a car that I'm sure is going to be very, very popular. Quite an interesting contender, I guess, for me as a kind of GT car as well, one to use for lugging things across the continent and going on various road trips. Next, we've got the Panamera Turbo S E Hybrid. Now this is only in the regular car, not in the Sport Turismo, but this basically takes the 4-litre twin turbo V8 that has 550 horsepower and adds some batteries in the back for an additional 136 horsepower, meaning we've got a 680 horsepower, 2.6 ton saloon car. It's 300 kilos heavier, or roughly thereabouts, to add in the batteries that if I come around to the rear, I can show you those, but it's a plug-in hybrid. It has the sort of lime green highlights and styling, but literally under the boot floor here you can see the batteries all mounted up in there, I guess taking away that underfloor storage space, but that's not hugely significant given the additional performance gains that come from the car. Again, much the same inside. Turbo S does have, though, the rear wing, didn't talk about that, the wing that kind of rises up, opens out sideways, looks amazing, but otherwise the Panamera with even more power, making it a monster. 680 horsepower, nearly 700 horsepower in this car, which is really quite something special to behold. Quick demonstration. There we go. That just has everybody completely gobsmacked as to how it works. The way the wing opens up and extends out to the sides like that. And tugs back in. Obviously it does it naturally at speed, but we've been pressing the buttons inside just to give you a quick demo of how that works again, because it's very cool. Given it's the car that you guys voted for in the recent poll as to what car I should get next, this is the 911 991.2 GTS. So this is without a doubt a pretty good car. And in fact, I'm going to come through and actually just come and look at the interior, because it's got the sport bucket seats, which will presumably be an option for GT3 in the future, the folding seat. You can have fixed comfort seats, or you can have those, but that makes getting your luggage in a little bit more easy if you so wish. And that brings us back round full circle to the 991.2 GT3. Hopefully a future Shmee-mobile, a new car in the garage. But like I said, I've applied for one, but it's going to be a while before we know how the allocations are going and whether I'm going to be able to end up with one. We will have to see in due course. I put my name down about 2 years ago, and presumably if I find myself lucky enough, it might arrive in 2018 at some point. We will see, and I will let you know for sure if I have any news on that front. It's not going to be as hard to get hold of as a 911R, of which there were only 991, but it is definitely going to be in limited supply. They're not going to be absolutely everywhere, so we'll wait and see. I don't know if I'll have a PDK or a 6-speed manual. We will find out in due course, but I definitely see this as the next Porsche to enter the garage if I'm able to get one and order one in due course. But for now, I'll wrap this one up from the global premiere of the new GT3, also checking out the Panamera Sport Turismo and the Panamera Turbo S hybrid as well. Thanks as always, guys, for watching, following these videos. Hopefully you've enjoyed the Geneva Motorshow content. Make sure you're subscribed though for plenty more, hopefully in the future with one of these too. That's it for now though. I'll catch up with you again very soon. Cheers.